Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Christ gives a qualification here. Facing persecution for the sake of your ideology or your pet theological position or political activism or even because of a simple foolish decision. Facing persecution for the sake of such things does not bring blessing in and of itself. It is only those persecuted for righteousness' sake that are to be blessed. This reality ought to cause us to step back and think. Remember, Peter warns Christians, let none of you suffer as an evildoer. 1 Peter 4:15. Many people are deceived in this regard. Many believe that they are on the right side of history, that their cause is the righteous cause, even that they have God on their side. And in their self-deception, they believe that any persecution or pushback is a sign of this fact, that it confirms it for them. So how do we know? How do we know that it is truly for righteousness' sake that we suffer, that we face persecution? The great Puritan Thomas Watson says that the man who would suffer for righteousness' sake must himself be righteous. And he gives us 3 tests for how we might know that we are righteous and that we are prepared to suffer for righteousness' sake. The first is that a righteous person breathes after holiness. Do you desire and delight in holiness? Do you long for purity of mind and soul? Do you daily trample on the bellies of your lusts and put to death the misdeeds of your body that you might present yourself holy to God? The second test is that a righteous person is one who makes God's grace his center. Can you say together with Paul that you are willing to suffer the loss of all things and to count them all as refuse if only you could gain Christ and be found in him, that you might know him and the power of his resurrection and share in his sufferings? Is Christ more valuable to you than all this world has to offer? And finally, the third test is that a righteous person is one who values the jewel of a good conscience at a high rate. What value do you place on having a good or a clean conscience? Does unconfessed sin eat away at your soul? Do you feel the heavy hand of God upon you when you are slow to confess? Do you value having nothing on your mind hindering your fellowship with God and neighbor? So in all of these things, are you ready to suffer persecution for righteousness' sake? Are you prepared to face the fiery trials that await all true followers of Christ? Let us not be deceived. Let us look rather to our inheritance, an eternal kingdom for our own possession as co-heirs with Christ. And let us resolve today that we would be a righteous people, that we might be counted worthy to suffer for the sake of righteousness.